Hello out there. We're on the air. We're a little bit scrambled today. I set up this live like 2 minutes ago. Oops. That's okay. People will show up. I know. I'm quite confident in that. But usually we have about, half an hour of prep time here for people to show up, people to say hi, people to be aware that we're going live. Anyways, this is the Daily Bitcoin Journey. Welcome back to another day. It is Tuesday today, February 18th, 2025. And this show focuses on actionable and logical discussion for Bitcoiners and for future Bitcoiners. So shout out to everybody watching right now and maybe later. If you happen to come across this video in your travels, just leave a comment if you're a new viewer here. And we got to start paying a little bit more attention to the new viewers, I think. I spend a lot of my time on the show, after the show, worrying about people in the community, but we got to start growing it a little bit. So welcome to all the new viewers this morning and some familiar faces here in the chat. Killer, good morning. Santino, let's make sure we're live on the Zap stream. I think we are, but you still got to double check. Clean your machines here. We are on Zap. Letha's over there. Good morning, Letha. We got Bunny. And we got Logan. And we got Arnie doing something in the background today. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but he's scratching something. Usually when he hears my wheels roll back, he stops whatever he's doing. Logan, howdy from Texas. Shout out to USA Hockey. When's the game? Actually, you know what? Let's start the show with that today. Any Americans out there feeling lucky, feeling crazy? I'll take the first bet in the chat. Whoever wants to take the US, I'll take Canada. But you got to be the first one, and you got to put your amount that you want to bet, and I'll take it. So we'll see. We don't have that many people in here yet. I should have waited probably a little bit, but I think the game's tomorrow. What's going on? Okay. What are you doing out there? You looking for trouble this morning or what? You looking for some trouble? Arnie's here. Arnie's in the house. Hey. Get out of there. What you need? All right. I don't think he needs anything. I think he's just being a pest. What you doing? Thinks he can just show up? Thinks he can just hang? All right. Well, I don't see any bets yet. So I guess if nobody's willing to bet, I understand. I wouldn't bet against Canada either, but I thought there'd be some takers in there in the chat. Paul, good morning. Bitcoin Vegas looking sweeter every day. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't officially booked anything yet, but I'm in the I think I'm going. The game's not till Thursday? That's lame. Why is it so long between games? Like, come on, isn't there a regular season these guys need to be playing? What the hell's going on? Winston, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. AV, good morning. Smoosh, is it Smush or Smoosh? I think Smoosh. We used to have a guy in high school named Smoosh. That wasn't his real name, though, I don't think. Logan, I love seeing the 3-1 after they booed the national anthem. Yeah, I'm not a big, you guys obviously know this, but you would not hear me booing, that's for sure. I would be cheering. I would be chanting USA. No, I wouldn't, but I wouldn't be definitely not booing. Thursday, all right. Okay, so again, we will, that was a crazy start to the game. I like it. I think this is supposed to be in replace of the NHL All-Star game, and I would much prefer this, honestly. That was the first hockey game I watched in not watched, but cared about in a long time. It's different when you're playing for your country. Everything is. I agree with this. I actually get a kick out of them, though. I didn't used to like them very much, but I've changed my mind on that a little bit. The Kachuk brothers are Elon levels of Asperger's. Like when you smoosh something. Okay. Or is it smush or smoosh? Smush. I don't know. I still don't know. Shit. Okay. Well, the other thing I wanted to talk about for housekeeping today was after hours zap. Somebody sent an after hours zap. I'm going to start doing these on every show now because we do a replay every day. I don't know if you guys knew that, but I mean, if you watch it in the morning, you probably don't need it at night as well. But I do a replay of the show every day at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And if I'm not doing anything or we're just hanging out, I usually spend some time in the chat, answering questions, saying hi, saying what's up, talking about different things. But anyway, somebody sent an after hours zap of 10,000 sats yesterday during that show. So it was done anonymously, but whoever it was, thank you. Appreciate it. So that's the housekeeping today. Not a whole lot. Actually, there was one other thing I want to talk about here. I think this is important for everybody. And I kind of shared this on Nostr this morning and got a good reply from it because I think that this is the absolute truth right now. I've been doing some different things. I don't know what you even call them, projects, some tasks, different things. We're building a website, or we have been building a website for Bitcoin Citadel. And I've just been completely blown away with how advanced AI is. Like, yeah, it's fun to like generate funny images and, write funny stories or whatever you do with AI just for shits and gigs. But it is incredibly useful when you're trying to structure things, when you're trying to organize things, when you're trying to get a bunch of data. Like it pretty much walked me through the whole website in terms of like what we need on there, what this page should have on it, what the page should say, the fonts we should use, the design template, everything. And I didn't follow it to a T, but it still gives you a really good guide of like where to start and kind of where to go with it. So I would highly suggest, I use Claude for a lot of my stuff, especially like organizational and tasks, stuff like that. But Perplexity, holy man, Perplexity is just phenomenal. I really think that if you're not at least playing around with some of these AIs, you're going to get very much left behind in whatever industry you're in or just in life, because they're so incredibly useful. And I think we need to get past like the doom and gloom of this, like AI is going to take over the world, and really lean into it because there's so much opportunity here right now within AI. We're like in the very early innings of this thing. Most people have never even opened an app before. So I use Perplexity. I use Claude. Those are kind of my two main ones. But I was interested to hear if you guys have any ideas for like image generation. I've used Venice AI. I've seen Grok does really good stuff, which is Twitter's AI. And there's also another one that a lot of people use for image stuff. But if you guys have used AI image stuff, either if you're watching it now, throw it in the chat, or watching it later, just leave a comment with it. Something you've used and enjoyed, because I would benefit from that too. Tom's over in Zapstream. We got Spaceman, a couple people over there. What about Rumble? How's the Rumbles doing today? I think we finally reached 60 subscribers on Rumble. Rumble might be the hardest platform in history to grow on. I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't know if there's a trick that I'm missing or something I need to be doing differently. But anyways, Rumble, if you're watching, say hi. I see there's a couple people in there. We got Ian. Good morning, Ian. Good to see you, my friend. And Buck 52,000. Good morning. Good morning. All right, let's get to the mempool here. No more wasting time. Start the mempool. We're going to do metrics today too, for the first time in a long time. So here we go. We are currently sitting at block height 884,324. And Pool is the winner of the last block. And it looks like we're falling a little bit behind here. 10 blocks behind with 700 blocks to go. So keep in mind, these are 13, 16. Yeah. What's the number again? 2016, I think. Is that right? Yeah, 2016. Every 2016 blocks, there's a new difficulty adjustment. It gets cranked up or turned down for the miners, make it a little bit easier or harder on them. Ascension, good morning. Good morning, good morning. All right, that's about it today. Fees are still low. Not a whole lot of action. It looks like these are filling up a little bit here, but still not much. Not much at all. And especially when we see the metrics here. So look at this. We got our metrics. This is only the third one we've done this year. Kind of neglected these, but I think these are, I think we're going to get back to these. I like doing these. Just kind of shows where we are. It reminds us, where we were last year and where we were last cycle. Although this number seems incredibly high. From 2001 to 2024, February, Bitcoin only went up from 51 to 52. I don't know if that's accurate, but I don't know. We'll verify that. We should verify that because that seems low. Okay, Bitcoin price. When was that? 2021. Bitcoin price, February 18th, 2021. 51,695. February 18th, 2024. 52,164. That's right. Okay, well, I'm glad we verified at least because I'm not into looking like a dipshit on live internet. All right, so the price today, 96,194. That was probably the first time I checked the price in about a week. So that's about where I saw it last. Not much movement lately. It seems like a lot of people are starting to get a little bit frustrated with the price of Bitcoin, but not me. I'm liking it. It can stay at this price as long as it wants to. And I really, really mean that. If I would have said that same thing about 3-6 months ago, I kind of just would have been saying it for the show purposes to keep people's mood up. But I am 100%. I want this thing to stay down as long as it possibly can. Because I'm not done getting my scarce supply of Bitcoin. I'm not even close. So it can stay down as long as it wants to. The Moscow time today, $1 will get you 1,039 scarce Satoshis. If you want to be Moscow rich in the US of A, you need 1 million sats. That's the magic number. And that's going to cost you $962 today. Not bad at all. Here in Canada, the price is 136,445 Canadian dollars. And the Moose Jaw time here, which is the Canadian equivalent, $1 Canadian gets you 732 sats. Not much. Moose Jaw rich. If you want to be Moose Jaw rich in Canada, need 1 million sats. And that's going to cost you $1,367. What was I going to show here, though? I want to see February. See, this time last year, let me scroll down a bit. February 19th. Is that today? 18th. Close enough. Okay, so the fees weren't too bad, but they're still pretty high compared to now. Like, we've had very low fees for a very long time here, but this year, this time last year, it was 26 sats per VByte and 14, 13. Okay, so they weren't that bad. I thought they were higher. There's a couple times last year when it was like crazy. It was like 400 or 500 sats per VByte when they were minting a whole bunch of things on the blockchain. Ahsoka, good morning. What is that, a goat? Looks like a goat. Down 8% over the last month. Sweet price. Sweet price Bitcoin. Although, again, I want this thing to stay low as possible for as long as possible. So I'm happy with it. All right, let's get to a little bit of news here. Make sure I got my email sent off. Did I? I didn't. Son of a gun. Drafts. 7:50. It was a crazy morning today. I slept in for an hour and I didn't even realize I slept in for an hour. How does that happen? I woke up and it was a little bit lighter out than usual. And then I looked at my phone like 10 minutes after waking up and I was an hour behind. So it's a tough time of the year here, folks. That's for sure. Especially if you're living in Canada. Okay, let me bring this up here. Morrow, good morning. Good morrow. Sometimes I wish I didn't have to laugh by myself, but I think there's people out there laughing as well. Okay, let's get to this. This is the big news around Bitcoin right now. GameStop looking to buy some Bitcoin. I mean, there's been people talking about this for probably a year now or more, like saying, GameStop, what are you doing? You got all this cash you're sitting on. Why aren't you putting that into Bitcoin? Why are you leaving it in US treasuries? Pretty sure anyways, they've just been hanging on to a bunch of cash. So anyways, the GameStop CEO met with Michael Saylor last week. There's been a little bit of buzz. Stock price has been going up and there's some rumblings. Okay, so the company is sitting on 4.5 billion in cash. That makes sense. That seems like a pretty good start to Bitcoin to me. So let's watch this. We'll see what Joe has to say about it.
Stop is considering investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. They say the company is still in the process of figuring out if it makes sense for the business and could still decide not to follow through with the investments. Last weekend, CEO Ryan Cohen posted a photo on X with Michael Saylor, co-founder of MicroStrategy, one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin. Two of the sources tell CNBC that Saylor, though, is not involved in GameStop's discussion about crypto investments at this time. GameStop soared as much as 20% in extended trading following that report. It's not at that point now, but still up almost 10%.
Find it all sort of tiresome.
What is a treasury investment or something? What's it got? I don't know how.
No, well, the whole one of the bull theses, as you know, for Bitcoin is that corporate America is going to start putting it on the balance sheet. I don't know if that's exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I mean,
here.
Like MicroStrategy or something.
People want Microsoft to do it. You know, all of the big.
I've seen that, but I thought in the strategy of what is GameStop now? It's got to. We've always wondered how they transition from bricks and mortar to everything that you get online for gaming now.
Yeah, I'm not sure that saying we're going to hold Bitcoin is, you know, you want to hold, you can just go hold Bitcoin. And I know that strategy, you know, acolytes think that they've been, you know, reinvented the wheel here on a more profitable way to do so. But the idea that you're going to get bailed out as a company by adopting that, not if it, what now more broadly, whether companies start putting some of their cash in Bitcoin, fine, that's a little different story.
And countries.
Right, countries.
Right. Countries. I mean, you can tell she's a 0-hour dipshit for sure. But yeah, it's interesting. Interesting to see what GameStop will do. I'm kind of honestly, you know, with her. She said it's tiresome that all these companies are adding Bitcoin to the balance sheet. It kind of is in a sense that they're using it as like a way to boost up their share price short term. But a lot of these companies, it just makes so much sense to be holding Bitcoin instead of cash. Like this isn't anything you know, crazy or hard to understand. One asset is losing purchasing power and value every single day, and one is going up 60% per year. So, I mean, it's anybody with any kind of business sense should be putting the majority of their longer term holdings on their balance sheet into Bitcoin. This doesn't have to be a marketing play every time. This is just good business sense, right? So I do imagine that GameStop will probably do it. It makes the most sense, and their share price will probably shoot up. Would I buy any of it? Probably not. I'm not a trader. I've tried timing things before. I've tried thinking that I'm smarter than the market. And for a lot of things, you just buy it and wait. That's the one thing I've learned. I've tried to get cute with these different things within the stock market. And I mean, Bitcoin's a perfect example of that. It's literally just buying it and holding on to it. And so if you're investing in companies within the Bitcoin ecosystem, you kind of take it with the same approach. In the sense of you buy this share, you know they're adding Bitcoin to their balance sheet. You know that they're going to hold any actual equity that they have in the company. It's going to be solid. And that's the best way to do it. So I really do think that we're kind of past the point of this being a huge opportunity for another company to be like a MicroStrategy. I think we got MicroStrategy, Semler, and Metaplanet. Those are kind of the 3 ones right now that are doing this successfully. And I just don't know how much demand there's going to be for more companies to do this, because the whole reason why they're paying so much of a premium for these shares is because they can't actually hold Bitcoin. And so, yes, the amount of corporations and entities looking to, hold Bitcoin but can't will continue to go up. But eventually there's going to come a point where it just doesn't make sense anymore to be offering this type of solution to these entities. Plus, these companies over time will just start holding the Bitcoin themselves. They won't need MicroStrategy or Metaplanet or Semler to do it for them. They'll just be able to hold Bitcoin. They'll have a whole team dedicated to holding Bitcoin and managing their Bitcoin, managing their UTXOs, managing their payments out of there and into it. And the keys, there's a whole side to that. Like, think about every company on the planet. I really think that a lot of these companies, especially the public ones, are going to fail. Even Joe said there, like, what does this company do anymore? They sold video games in like a lot of malls. I don't know what GameStop does anymore. Like, is the video game industry still that active in terms of like people walking into a store and buying a game? I don't think so. It's pretty much a zombie corporation. There's a lot of corporations just like GameStop that I think will fail in the next decade, especially if they don't adopt Bitcoin. The only thing that could save them is that if they actually adopted Bitcoin, they used that Bitcoin to re-energize their business. That's, to me, that would be the best play right now for a lot of these companies, in the sense that they're still making profit. They still have a good business model. They still have a demand for their products or services, but they just they leverage that with Bitcoin. So they buy some Bitcoin. They don't do it for like the share price to go up. They don't do it for the long term, but they do it for like the next 2, 3, 5 years. And they use that Bitcoin and they fund their growth, investment in their company. And they'll be able to, let's say they put $100,000 into Bitcoin today, they might get $1 million worth of purchasing power out of that in a couple of years from now, which they could use to re-energize their business. So that's where I see this going more in the future. And GameStop could very well be one of those companies. Imagine buying $4.5 billion worth of Bitcoin, sitting on that for a couple of years, and then using that to, build something either online or whatever. I think that that's the play, instead of just holding on it and hoping your share price goes up. I think the days of that is gone. So pretty cool though. It's a whole new wrench in play here, Bitcoin. And speaking of Metaplanet, let's see what they got going on. Another company who's been adopting the Bitcoin. All right, I see a couple faces in here. Morning, Terry. Rick, sorry I'm so late. We need a lot more smashing of the likes. Yeah, Rick, it's usually pretty scarce around here in the like department until you show up. So thank you for showing up. Let's see how we're doing here. We got 50 people in here and we got 20 likes. Ugh, yuck. You can do much better than that. I'm going to add a goal here. I'm going to go super aggressive. We're going 50 super chats, $100 or higher, 45 minutes to buy some Bitcoin. There we go. Let's see if anybody gets that one. Oh, an error occurred. Okay, well, that failed. She's a Karen? Yeah, she kind of sounded like it, eh? She sounded like one of those people who thinks they're smarter than they are. New financial instrument. That's a really good way to put it, actually. Everyone's buying and playing games online, buying game assets online. It's all online. Brick and mortar is dead. Dead. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm saying, is like maybe GameStop takes 4.5 billion, puts it into Bitcoin, waits a couple of years, turns that 4.5 into 9 or 15 or 20 billion, and then just builds out a really strong infrastructure for gaming, because they would still have a lot of like connections. They would have a lot of distribution. They would have a lot of intelligence within that industry. So if they could use Bitcoin for that, that makes a lot of sense to me. Oh, cow. Let's drop my phone here. All right. Let's see Metaplanet here. So Metaplanet has acquired 269.43 Bitcoin for approximately 26 million, bringing its Bitcoin yield to 15% in Q1 of 2025. So I saw that Metaplanet is buying Bitcoin. I saw that Metaplanet is also doing a stock split, 10-to-1 stock split, just like their big brother MicroStrategy has done. And companies usually do stock splits when things are good, when the share price is running up too much, and they worry that it's going to price out certain segments of investors. So they're going to do a stock split 10-to-1. So if you have one share, that means you get 10. MicroStrategy did this in 2024, I believe. And so a couple different things on that. The first thing I would say is, like, that's why I tell people to get some MicroStrategy shares, even if you can only afford like 2, 3, 4, 5. You'd imagine that as the price of Bitcoin continues to go up, even if the yield doesn't even continue with MicroStrategy, the share price will still go up. So those 5 shares all of a sudden turn into 50. And then in a couple of years, maybe 500. And then you just hold on to it for a very long time and just kind of let it, let Bitcoin and the Bitcoin strategy play out. So that's the first part. That's my recommendation for MicroStrategy. You don't have to go like 10% of your portfolio or a significant part of it, but just get some MicroStrategy for this reason. But the second thing I was going to say is, somebody asked me, I think it was Patrick, I forget, 21 Sat Spiel. I'm pretty sure that was him. Maybe somebody else. But anyways, they asked, is it worth buying Metaplanet shares? And I didn't even think we could buy them here in Canada. So I asked my AI assistant Perplexity, and they said that you can. As long as you're using a financial advisor and you have access to the Tokyo Stock Exchange, you can buy Metaplanet. So I wouldn't, though. I think that if you're looking to allocate in that area, I would definitely go MicroStrategy for a lot of different reasons. I trust the US government more than the Japanese government, for one. And the other part too is, like, the MicroStrategy has a lot more of it, which means they can do more with it, and their yields are higher. So if you're looking at two different things here, I would say that you should have MicroStrategy over Metaplanet. But a lot of people in Japan can't buy MicroStrategy. That's why it's been so popular in Japan. Jay says, not dead in Asia, which is brick and mortar online games. Yeah, that makes sense. Nautilus. Does anyone else look at yacht videos a lot? My wife thinks I'm crazy. She's not a believer. I mean, that's a good thing. I respect that. I think it's important to, visualize things, say things out loud, and really bring them to reality. I believe that that's a thing. I forget what it's called. Law of attraction? I don't know. Anyways, Jay says, not exactly my taste, but I do look at Apache helicopters. Yeah, that's my kind of thing too. I don't think I'd ever be a yacht guy. Maybe I've never been on one, so I can't really judge until I've been on one. I didn't get the invite to Sailor's Yacht Party this year. Too many F-bombs on the channel. Okay, we got Josh over in the Zap stream who zapped 888 sats. My Path to Fire zapped 100 sats as well. Thank you. Thank you for that. And it's good to see you over in the Zaps. We got a couple people over there. All right, what's next here? What is next? So I titled the show today, Bitcoin Has No Competition. And actually, let me bring up that one. Let's start with that. So honestly, right now, whether we're looking at, actually, we'll wait for this to load up first here. 47 minutes ago, that will be our guy right there. That's what we need. Proton Drive. Proton Drive's coming in handy for me lately. I've kind of implemented into this laptop here and my phone, and I can just kind of share files this way, which is kind of cool. Although it still needs some work. because I never know which file is which sounds stupid, but anyways, here it is. 40 acres and a mule. I mean, is it too much to ask? 40 acres is a lot. What would you do with 40 acres? Would you farm it? You might be able to get a nice hobby farm on 40 acres. But I don't know what else you'd be able to do with it other than maybe hunt on it if you got trees on the land. Or just walk around. I don't know. What would you do with 40 acres? That's a question. That's a question for the chat, and that's a question for the comments after. If you're watching this after, if you had 40 acres of land, what would you do with it? Play it out, especially if you're if that's something you actually want. Then play it out and really think about what you would put on the 40 acres, what you'd use it for, what it would look like, where it would be. Because the more you think about things like that and write it down, say it out loud, it'll probably happen. I think it will. All right. Morrow says 150 sats for the pup. There it is. So we do have Arnie's wallet, QR code right here. We got his Zap machine. So if you're feeling up for it, we had a lot of Zaps yesterday. Wow, for the rescue dogs, that was a big day. Let me get an update on that. So we had 48,000 sats yesterday for the rescue dog fund. So we are well over 100 now. I think I'm still going to round it up to 100 though, but I think we have about 150 on paper. So that's kind of the minimum. If I remember to top it up to 200, yes, but if not, we're still got 150,000 sats, which is pretty badass, honestly. All right. Bendero says, I'd build a FPV park. What's that? What's an FPV park? Bodie. Helos, yes, but vulnerable. Intense learning curve, yachts, no, sailboat, and a truck for me. Hey, I'm in kind of the same place as you, Bodie. I don't think I would get a sailboat, though. I would get a nice truck. I would get a nice side-by-side. I would get some good equipment that I've been putting off for a while. I'd probably get a tractor, too, or like a skid steer. I don't think a yacht would fit on this lake. Kev says a nuclear reactor. That's a good answer. That's smart. Although it wouldn't be very visually appealing and calm. It'd be a lot of, or would it be? I don't know if nuclear reactors make much noise. Logan says cattle, bees, chickens, big garden, and flowers. Oh, that sounds pretty good to me. I would add about 2 or 3 dogs, some cats. Yeah, cats for sure. You need some cats. And maybe some goats. Bitcoin acres. All right, I like that. FPV park is for flying drones in first-person view. It's like shrinking yourself and piloting drones. Wow, that's cool. Oh, I like this. This was a good experiment here. Bodie says 40 acres can be farmed with permaculture. You can grow a ton of food for many. Check out the lunatic farmer, Joel Salatin. There's a great need to build soil, which is an amazing rabbit hole. We don't have 40 acres here, but we got close to that. The problem is it's covered in trees. I don't know if that's a problem or not. I swear I could start a firewood business here easily and live off of that. I might do that actually. It's kind of in my longer term plans. There's acres of land here with just trees. Scattered birch. I'd say that about 5% of it is birch. And then 95% of it would be like white poplar, white and green poplar. So that is kind of my longer term plan, honestly. Once I transition out of doing shows every day, I'll just be out there cutting the woods. Solar Bitcoin mining. That's pretty smart too. Although I honestly hate as much as solar is good, and it really depends on what area you're in. I don't think solar is the play here. We just don't get enough sunlight. But to me, those solar farms, they just look so bad. Like driving by farms that have all those solar, like a solar farm, it looks horrible. It just looks like it shouldn't be there. It's not natural. So I don't know. That's just my opinion on it, though. Ian says a fishing lake, woods, and a mountain bike track. Ooh, I love that. I could probably make a nice mountain bike track in here, although it wouldn't be very big. You just have to have some good jumps, some ramps, so I can injure myself. All right, so let's get to this part. That was fun. I like that. We should do more of that. All right, let me bring this up here. Entire screen. See if this works. Yep. Okay. So what do we got here? Okay, so I saw another zap came in too, actually. Ooh, fat zap. We got a fat zap this morning. 1,500 sats anonymously sent and received. So thank you for that. Thank you for the zaps. And I should just double check on our friends over in the zap stream quickly. Yep, we got another fat zap in there. 2 more fat zaps just showed up. Josh says depends on the acreage. If it's bush, then harvest and sell the wood and hunt it. Yeah, you'd like this land then, Josh. This is got a lot of wood. Harvest the wood and then hunt. Yeah, there's lots of bears. This is kind of bear country here. There's bear outfitters just down the road from me. But anyways, Daniel zapped 888 sats incoming, and Letha zapped 888 sats. Thank you. Good to see. Good to see some sats and some support. All right, so okay, let me find this here quickly. Where'd it go? So I titled the show here, Bitcoin has no competition. And obvious one here is the dollar. That's not even an argument anymore. But then you got real estate, which I think that if you asked anybody out there, even people who are very knowledgeable in real estate, but if they also understood Bitcoin, I guarantee that they would recommend that some of that goes into Bitcoin and not all into real estate. There's a lot of people out there who don't understand Bitcoin and believe that real estate is the best place to park your cash and store your value, but they just haven't put any time into learning Bitcoin. So real estate, I think over time, as more and more people get educated on Bitcoin and realize what's going on here, I think a lot of that will flow from real estate into Bitcoin, especially like the Airbnb stuff and the inactive houses. I mean, I don't expect people to start selling the homes that they live in to buy Bitcoin. Some will, but for the most part, it'll be like inactive ones because the Airbnb market lately, I don't think has been great. And so I think that a lot of that capital will flow into Bitcoin. So that's cash, real estate, gold. Gold's a big one. We're going to talk about that after this. And gold to me, I think is kind of the next milestone for Bitcoin. Because I think for Bitcoin to reach gold market cap to be 1-to-1, the price of Bitcoin would be about $800,000 or $900,000. And I think that gold and Bitcoin are not even comparable myself. I think that Bitcoin is at least 10x today, maybe 100x today, more valuable than gold. So think about where that would put the price of Bitcoin today. But that's just my opinion. Obviously, the market doesn't agree with me or hasn't caught up to that yet. But the last one is that other cryptos. And I think the last time we were going through the same halving cycle in 2021, there was still a lot of people who believed that there was other cryptocurrencies that would actually compete with Bitcoin. And we just haven't seen that yet. So somebody actually left a comment on one of my videos from like 2 years ago where I said, sell Ethereum, buy Bitcoin. Might have been from like a year and a half ago. But they did the math on it. They said that Ethereum since then was up 60%. And Bitcoin since that video was 400%. So I might bring that up tomorrow or sometime. I forgot to bring it up here. But anyways, this is what we're competing with in crypto land right now. So you got Bitcoin. All of these cryptos have their issues, but let's run through them. Bitcoin, the founder gone missing. Ethereum, the founder supports communism. Vitalik tweeted that last week. XRP, the team is selling billions of it every year. Yeah, that's the one thing that for me that I love, other than like the missing part of their ledger. But like XRP, the founders, they never buy XRP. They just dump it. It's all they do. They're never buying it. They're just dumping it. Next one here is the Binance coin, BNB. The founder was in prison. CZ, I think he was in prison or is in prison. I think he's out now. Solana, the founder isn't even using the chain. Dogecoin, the founder isn't even holding any Doge. And Cardano, this one made me laugh. This was the best one. The founder is arguing with bots online. If you've ever seen the founder of Cardano, he just looks like a fucking slob. That's the perfect way to describe that guy, a slob. So that's competition. Bitcoin, the founder's gone missing. That's pretty much it. But the rest of these have just kind of turned into jokes. Like they're not even trying to really compete with Bitcoin anymore. When was the last time you heard that there was a coin that's competing with Bitcoin? Caspa, maybe? Caspa had like 2 or 3 weeks of lots of bots and lots of people buying into it. But other than that, like I've already forgotten what Caspa is. So that just goes to show, I mean, there's a whole bunch of capital that will flow in from other aspects of the world. And think about the bond market too. We didn't even talk about that. Stock market, way overvalued, way over, like by, I don't know, what was the PE ratio of NVIDIA? 50? So you buy one NVIDIA share right now, it takes 50 years to pay that off. That's just how much money is trapped in that system. So Bitcoin has no competition right now, plain and simple. It has no competition at all. Hey, Crypto Princess, good morning. Can't stay, but have a great live stream, Jor. Catch up later. Thanks for popping by, Crypto Princess. Good to see you. And she says, I agree with your comments on gold. Bitcoin is far more valuable on several fronts. I did a deep dive into both and compared them. It's when you present facts objectively, it's really hard to argue with it. Troy says, I'm greedy. I'm ported fully into MicroStrategy. No Bitcoin? That's a scary thought. 0 Bitcoin, all MicroStrategy. That's all. If somebody's 100% in MicroStrategy, 0% in Bitcoin, that's almost to me like how gold people are. They like get it. They understand what's going on here. They see things, but they're convinced that gold is the better play, the better option right now, mostly because they haven't spent time learning Bitcoin. But like there's a lot of gold bugs out there who are on the right track. They understand that the system's broken. They understand that gold has been historically the best place to store your value. But they're so close, they can't get to Bitcoin. And I think anybody who's holding like MicroStrategy 100% or even like, more MicroStrategy than Bitcoin, I think that's a problem because you're like here, you understand what's happening, but you're more caught up in like seeing gains go up in your stock account versus like actually owning something and actually having something that nobody can take away from you. It's pretty powerful. It's a pretty powerful part of Bitcoin that I think that a lot of people are going to miss is that, being able to hold the keys to it and don't have to ask permission and don't have to tell anybody you have it. I mean, just think about this. I'm not trying to pick on Troy here at all. I don't know if this is even the case, but somebody like that who owns a lot of MicroStrategy and not a whole lot of Bitcoin, you pass away. What happens to your investments? Just think about it. If you got a good will, they'll probably go to your predecessor in life, your heirs. But like, there's a whole process there of like it, you going to you have to probably submit a whole bunch of documents showing that you're dead. But then they know how much you have. You have to pay tax on it. You have to do all this kind of stuff. It ends up in the courts. It ends up in probate. Some of it gets made public, maybe. Who knows? It's a whole process. It's a very bad process. It's something we've got used to, but it's a very bad process. Whereas Bitcoin, if you do it properly, you hold it yourself. You hold the keys to that. You have it in your will. You have a revocable trust. You have an inheritance plan in place. something happens to you, your family restores it. They don't need to like tell the world that you have it. I mean, legally they're required to, I think, but to me, there's just so much illegal things happening in the world that it's kind of just a free for all. It really is. That's kind of, we're at a weird place in history right now, but that's kind of how I see it. But anyways, it's up to you how you want to hold it. Bitcoin is what we need, though. MicroStrategy is not what we need. Here's the other thing. I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this. But what do we think that MicroStrategy is tied to the U.S. government? I keep going back and forth with it, and I really believe that there's something there. I'm not 100% sure what it is, but I think that MicroStrategy is tied to the U.S. government somehow. And I don't know what it looks like long term. I don't know what happens there. I don't know how it plays out. But it seems to me like MicroStrategy is going to be somehow wrapped up with the government, the U.S. government. There's too many things there, too many clues, too many dots to connect there. Because it's different when there's a company, a public company, who's accumulating this much Bitcoin consistently. And you have to understand this too. Like, for somebody to get as much Bitcoin as MicroStrategy has right now, that took a lot of like very strategic planning without running up the price and the price running away from them. Because if they would have bought that all in one shot, their cost base would have been probably double what they did. So they did it very strategically. They worked it into the market. They did it legally. But imagine if the US government was doing the same thing. They would have got way more pushback. They wouldn't have been able to do it probably because there's not a whole lot of smart people in the... I shouldn't say that. What the hell is Arnie doing? He stops. Yeah, he's up to something back there. I don't like it. It's bothering me. So yeah, I don't know. I'm interested. I don't know myself, to be honest with you. Plus the fact that Sailor's known the Trumps for 20 years. I don't know. Something just doesn't add up there to me. I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just, and would it be bad? I don't know. So that's the other part that I'm kind of fighting with too. Would it be bad if they were tied together? Depends how it's used, I guess. Depends what it's used for. Okay. Cleaner Machine says, I've been a landlord for 10 years and it's been a pain in the ass. I'm selling it this year. Bitcoin will save me a lot of headaches moving into my retirement years. Good for you. That's the plan. I think that's the play. I think that there's got to be a lot more. I think there's going to be a lot more of that. Truly. It's going to start small with 1% of people doing it, and then 2%. And then as, everything, it's always a trend. And there's just like I can't see it now, but there's a chart behind that, the trust and time. Over time, it keeps going. Sorry, Troy says, I really think gold will skyrocket also. It's been suppressed for a century. Yeah, but there's so many implications of that. There's so many implications of skyrocketing the price of gold. So here's the other crazy thing that I looked at last night. So I saw that the U.S. government has actually been holding gold at $40 per ounce since 1970, which is about $11 billion worth. If you take their gold that they claim to be holding times $40, it works out to be about 11 billion. Marked up though, I think the price of Bitcoin is between $2,500 and $3,000. So if you take the same amount of gold times it by the market price, I think it's just about 800 billion. So first of all, you have to ask yourself, why would the US government not want to increase their assets on their balance sheet from 11 billion to 800 billion? Ask yourself why. I don't know myself. I think it has something to do with they didn't want to draw any attention to the gold. That's my theory. I mean, they don't really have a choice now. That's why there's a whole bunch of gold coming over from London, and there's a whole bunch of panic in the market. But that's what I think. I think they haven't marked it up because they don't want any attention on it. So why wouldn't they want any attention on it? So that's the first part. But the second thing I would say there is that with with the gold that they're holding, with the bill that Lummis is going to put through, she wants to trade some of that gold for Bitcoin. She said it on numerous occasions now on mainstream television. So if that starts happening where they start trading some of that gold for Bitcoin, I don't know. I don't think we should like bank on it. I don't think we should bank on there being no gold in Fort Knox. I don't know. It's going to be pretty wild here for the next little while. So they got 785 or $800 billion worth of gold. That's what it's worth. But then you compare it to like how much money they've added to the monetary supply, plus how much interest they're paying on debt right now. So think about all this gold that the US government has been accumulating through the years. All of that, even at market rates, is less than like the interest they paid on their debt so far this year. That's how out of whack things are right now. And when you stop and objectively look at this, you see how there's only one way that this thing ends, and it's not good. So I don't know. It's the fact that everybody's kind of walking around, just pretending that this isn't happening is a little bit scary to me. And I think that the small portion of people who actually understand what's happening here is really mind-blowing to me. I don't know. It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. Anyways, Plunder's over there in Zapstream. Zapped 888 sats. Thank you, Plunger. And Josh said, I was born and raised in Thunder Bay, Kakabeka Falls. Love the bush. Poplar sucks to burn, though. Burst is where she's at for burning. Yeah. But you already know that. Yeah, that's a problem. Is that, like I said, about 90% of these trees are poplar, and they're not the best for firewood. But a lot of people around here still use them for firewood. Not the best, but they'll still do. I think you have to dry them out a little bit more, though. I don't know. I'll learn more. M. Vincent says the Bitcoin price seems to be tied to small cap tech stocks. How do we break this? Or will we always be considered a tech stock by the market? I don't think there's anything we have to do. I think it's just time. Everything in Bitcoin is just time. And I actually did a video comparing Bitcoin and gold for the 365 days of Bitcoin. And I was thinking I might actually release that tomorrow. I might add a couple things and edit it a little bit and then post it on the channel tomorrow. But everything is just time. Because when I looked at the comparison between gold and Bitcoin, and it had like 10 different characteristics, portable, durable, verifiable, all these different things. And Bitcoin ticked every box, every single one of them, except one. And that was time, historical data, or proven. So Bitcoin's only 16 years old. Gold's thousands of years old, hundreds of thousands of years old. So the only thing that Bitcoin's lacking right now in terms of like its characteristics and value is time. So to me, it's the exact same thing with being tied to a small cap tech stock, is that eventually people will realize that this thing is much bigger than a tech stock. So it's just time to me. That's the only thing that we need. We don't need to change anything. We don't need to improve anything. We just need time. But time is the opportunity here for us. Man, Arnie's fucking on one today. What are you doing out there? What are you looking at? Either looking at a ghost or looking at the wall, pretending you didn't do anything bad out there. Bugger. Okay. Shush. Shh. Do you want to come hang out or do you want to be annoying? Guy, man. Good guy. Only ever hold Bitcoin. Yeah, that's my thoughts too. I got a bit of MicroStrategy, but for the most part, Bitcoin just makes so much more sense to me. Would a Tether scam hurt Bitcoin? I don't know. Probably. I don't know for sure though. Santino says, exactly, Jordan. That's my biggest fear with MicroStrategy, having a massive amount of Bitcoin that can manipulate the market. They'll start with good intentions. What happens after Sailor? It's a good point. End of the day, humans are greedy and will always be tempted with ill intentions in these power positions. We will eventually hear something devastating from strategy in the coming decades. I mean, it depends, though. It really depends. I agree with you. I do. That's kind of my sense as well. But at the same time, the thing with Bitcoin is that if it's done properly and if it's set up properly, then it's really hard to screw it up. Really hard to screw it up. And if you look at this thing over the next 5, 10, 50 years, like, yes, it's going to go up and down. There'll probably be some big drops. There'll be some panic, I'm sure, at some point. But like, if you have things in place and your setup is like rock solid and you build that kind of from the start, which I believe they have or they're working on right now, it's very hard to lose that Bitcoin. It's very hard to lose it unless you're being stupid with it. But I mean, I don't think that they're messing around with almost 500,000 Bitcoin. I would be scared of gold right now. Me too. That's kind of the sense that I get as well. I don't know. It seems like it could shoot up, but something could also happen in the future for gold that, causes a bit of panic. Live good with Sabian. Good morning. Grand Rising. Hope you're having a great day. So far, so good. So far, so good. Retro Beaver. Bitcoin bull run hasn't even begun yet. Yes, I agree with this. This is the problem for me. It's like all these dipshits are like, oh, the bull run's over. What a disappointment. All these different concerns with Bitcoin now. It happens every time. Every single time. Smoosh, someone told me about the Grand Rising yesterday. What's that mean? I don't know about that. What did I miss with Grand Rising? Bitcoin's a teenager, exactly. Arnie's looking through the wall to the great north outdoors. Yeah, north would be that way. But yeah, that's his favorite thing to do. Maybe I forgot to set up his purse today. Maybe that's why he's whining. Anyways, do we have anything else? Yeah, actually, we did have something else related to gold. Oh, we got to do the wishing well. Let's do that quickly. We're almost out of time here. I'm trying to keep these around an hour. It's my new plan. I will have other content coming out now, though, which I think and hope people will appreciate. But I can't be doing 2-hour live streams every day. It doesn't make any sense from my perspective. I know it's kind of shitty to say, but it just doesn't. There's I mean, I love doing it. I'm not going to stop doing it. I just don't need to be doing it for 2 hours every day. So let's get your phones out, get your Lightning wallet set up, and point it at the screen. Hopefully you'll win some free sats this morning. All right. So these sats are courtesy of our friends at the Bitcoin Well. Let me get our little banner up here. I can always tell how many people registered that day after watching the show. And the last little while, I'm thinking it's because everybody already has Bitcoin Well. But if not, make sure you check it out. Bitcoin Well is by far the best place to buy, sell, swap Bitcoin in North America. Team Bitcoin, they get the lowest fees. Plus, they get the best website here. And if you use that code bitcoinwell.com/Jor, you get 5 free tosses into the well. So here we go. Here's one toss for you. Ready? Set? Go. We snapped our coldie yesterday. Oh, another one. We're due for these. We are due for these. 2,100 sats there. That's a nice chunk of change for scanning a screen. It's a crazy thing to me is that these 2,100 sats will be what somebody works for probably for a month, for a year, maybe at some point. And you just got 2,100 sats for literally scanning a screen. So anyways, shout out to Bitcoin Well for that. Again, I use Bitcoin well for every single one of my Bitcoin purchases, whether it's a recurring buy, whether I have some extra cash kicking around for a smash buy. It all goes into Bitcoin well. And if I need to sell some Bitcoin too, very easy. I had a couple people there. Here's the thing with Bitcoin. If you're all in on Bitcoin, you're going to have to sell some once in a while because life is pretty unexpected. It's just the reality of things. And so I've had a couple people in the last couple of weeks looking to sell a little bit of Bitcoin. What can I say on this? The one thing I would say is I would encourage everybody out there right now to join some sort of network. And I would obviously suggest joining Living the Future. It's our community that we have within the Bitcoin journey here, 88 sats. But you're going to find people in that network over time. You're going to start trusting people. And those are the people that you can buy and sell anything with. Products, services, you can trade your time, or you can buy and sell Bitcoin with people. So one of the things that's going to be happening in 2026 with our 8 Satoshis group is something like that. It's going to be a private membership group. And there's going to be a lot of things we're going to be able to do within this membership group that we wouldn't otherwise, we might get in trouble if we did otherwise. We'll just say that. So that's kind of the idea here. And I do think that there's probably going to be some sort of an offering that I'm going to put out for joining the 8 Satoshis private membership, but you're going to have to be a member of Living the Future. So you get a ton of benefits with that. I'm actually in the process of creating a document showing everything that's included in this. Because, I do everything off script here, so I forget a lot of things. But anyways, the best value you can find for the best network in Bitcoin is Living in the Future. But another option, if you need to sell Bitcoin, if you don't want to, if you don't have that trust built with anybody yet, you can use Bitcoin well. And basically, they just give you a QR code. You tell it where you want the money to be sent to. You can either connect a bank account or put your email in there, and they'll send you an e-transfer here in Canada. But you just scan the QR code, send them Bitcoin, and they instantly send you dollars. Pretty badass. Pretty badass. Sounds like a terror organization. Yeah, it pretty much is. But the terror, I guess we're terrorizing the existing system. That's what I would say on that. It's just even things like buying and selling Bitcoin, or if we're going to sell Bitcoin to people, it's something that you need an actual license to do. But if you just have a private membership group, they follow different laws. And actually, there's a guy in the group, I don't want to dox him, but he's been looking into the private membership stuff a little bit. And there's way more benefit to starting something like that than a normal corporation. There's different rules. You play by different rules. So it is a terrorist organization, terrorizing the system. Retro Beaver says, besides my house, Bitcoin is the only asset I own. Not a boy or a girl. Fiat prices of things do not matter. I stack ounces and sats. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Texas hearing on Bitcoin starts in 10 minutes. Wow. I wonder if we should watch that. Should we watch that? I just said that we're going to do an hour show now. MicroStrategy halted buying. What does that mean? Why? Lots going on here. MicroStrategy stock. Why is it halted? I see no info on it. Oh, look who it is, Arnie boy. Thanks, Arnie, for sitting down and settling down. All right, the Zap stream. What's going on there? Plunger, I don't know if I said thanks yet or not, but Plunger zapped 888 sats, a fat zap. And Plunger said, Sailor, Trump, they're just a couple of rich people that want to become more rich and powerful. Probably not wrong. Probably not wrong. Well, he says, I believe they think they're undervalued. The stock is trading, but they stopped hitting the ATM. Oh, I gotcha. I thought you meant their stock was halted. I gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's probably It's probably true, because you have to remember every time they hit the ATM, as you call it, or issue shares and sell them and buy Bitcoin, their stock price drops significantly. And that's kind of what's been going on for the last 3 or 4 months since they came out with their big plan, their $42 billion plan. They've just been doing the share issuance. But it looks like what's been going on here? Yeah, the price is up. Price of MicroStrategy is up. Okay, the last thing I wanted to talk about here was our nostr news. So this was a post I saw from our buddy Marty Bent on nostr. So this is what Marty says. He said, stop setting expectations that Bitcoin is going to rise when people find out the gold isn't in Fort Knox. I wouldn't be surprised if the Trump admin makes sure it's filled before going in there to signal economic strength as the world is scrambling for physical gold. Banking on an empty vault for Bitcoin price pump is setting the market up for disappointment. I agree with that. The correct framing is we shouldn't have to wonder whether or not the gold is in Fort Knox. We should be able to publicly audit the country's reserves 24/7, 365, and Bitcoin enables that. It is very hard to do that with gold, as the last 5 decades have proven. Absolutely agree with that. Although I'm not 100% sure on this, it wouldn't surprise me. But also, I don't think that Trump loves gold. So, yeah, I mean, I see his point here, because he does want to signal economic strength for the U.S. And that might be why there's so much gold flowing over from London right now to the U.S. Part of that, it would make sense. So, I pretty much agree with the majority of this post here from Marty. And you have to keep in mind here that that's the absolute truth that a lot of people don't really understand about Bitcoin, is that you don't need to audit it. The Bitcoin network self-audits itself every 10 minutes, which is a pretty big deal. Because think about this, even if we went back to the gold standard, and the US actually had a bunch of gold in Fort Knox, and that's what they were going to issue their new treasury dollar on, gold, backed by gold, just like it used to be. But you still have to trust them. That's a problem with that. You don't know if the gold is real. You would need like a live cam which is possible. You could put a live cam in there, but I mean, then you could manipulate that too. You could just put an AI camera on there. Nobody would really know. Pretty much what you'd have to do is you'd have to walk through there yourself. That's the only way that you could actually verify it. Whereas with Bitcoin, again, it self-audits every 10 minutes, plus it's 100% verifiable any moment you need it. So that's why I think that if the US government had like their own website that shows their Bitcoin holdings, their transactions, their balance, anybody could log in there anytime and look at it. El Salvador has that right now. See if I can bring it up quickly. But that should be the standard. El Salvador does it now. El Salvador mempool. There it is right here. Pretty simple to do. I'm guessing if mempool built this for El Salvador, they should be able to do this for the US. But you can see here, look at this. It's a beautiful looking chart. A couple big purchases here, 11. The rest have been 1, I think, other than that. But the 11 one, and I think if we zoomed out a little bit here, can we? What does this thing do? No, we can't. Can we? No. But they've had a couple purchases of 11 lately. What? So they made a big purchase here, it looks like, to start the train rolling. 5,600 Bitcoin. Anyways, the point of this is that you can see it. You don't have to wonder. You don't need a live cam. You don't need to walk through the El Salvador's government buildings. You can see it. You can log onto this website. You can see that they have 6,081 Bitcoin, the value of it, how many UTXOs they have, and their history of buying. Look at these UTXOs. 4,000 Bitcoin UTXO. Wow. And then a bunch of small ones. So they're buying wonder what their consolidation strategy is. They got a bunch of one Bitcoin here, all UTXOs, 100 Bitcoin, 109 Bitcoin, 1,000 Bitcoin, 50 Bitcoin, 14, 11, 11, 11. This is so cool to me. 500 Bitcoin. So why not? Why not? It's possible. It'll happen in the future. It'll absolutely happen. Just got to give it time. Same as anything here. Crypto Trump saw, cryo thump. Cryo Trump. Thumb out every 4 years just to win the election. You'll be handing out orange pill and he's big and mean and orange. That's true. That is true. You cannot trust a foreign corporation built on lies and theft. Absolutely true. So that was a good episode today. It's always fun to, again, the shitty thing about gold to me is that I really feel bad for gold bugs because they know they're doing the right thing. It's just they're not doing the right thing. So I think that they'll figure it out eventually or they'll die. That's kind of the path forward for a gold bug. They're either going to figure it out that Bitcoin is a far superior asset or they're going to die and their kids will buy Bitcoin with it. It's a good way to end the show. Plunger says Trump loves gold. He showcased a gold toilet in one of his Trump towers. Yeah, I think that he, likes, if you looked at Mar-a-Lago, obviously he's a big fan of gold and like the utility aspect of it. But I think Trump knows that both real estate and Bitcoin are preferred to gold. And that's why they've been talking about selling some of their gold for Bitcoin. So I think we're going to leave it there. Thanks everybody for the zaps today. It was, I would say, unfortunately, one of our worst zap showings in a while, but that's okay because we had a big one yesterday, a big day for the dogs. So I hope you have yourselves a great Tuesday. I hope it's much warmer than it is here. The cold snap is finally over here. Let me bring that up quickly. This was the temperatures. So we kind of peaked. Where is this? So minus 37, minus 38, 35. That's kind of what it's been for the last month here. It's like minus 40-ish. But look at that. In a week from now, it's going to be minus 5. So the cold snap is done. Thank God. Anyways, sounds like he loves crapping on it. It's true. Oh, the last thing that I did want to mention, though, for everybody, because tomorrow is Wednesday, which means that it's going to be our private Q&A day, no show. So if you want to join, if you want to be part of our Wednesday private Q&As plus join the community, the best way to do that is through the Patreon. In the show notes, you can just join. It's $5 a month. Or if you don't care about the community, if you don't care about any of that other stuff, you can just join the channel from the YouTube channel. You can join as a Bitcoin Journeyman on there. So every Wednesday, we're going to be doing private Q&As. And there's a lot of really exciting things coming there. I would say that if you want to be involved with Bitcoin, and there's going to be a lot of different opportunities for you in this group in the next year or two. So what I would say is join as soon as you can. Start putting in some proof of work in there. Start building trust with the community. And when the time comes, you're going to be thankful that you did it. So again, you can join through the channel if you want to show up tomorrow, or you can join the Patreon. Link below. It says 365 or Living the Future. One of those two will get you access to it. So we'll see everybody tomorrow. And Spaceman zapped 88 sats. Thank you, Spaceman. We'll see everybody tomorrow or on Thursday. So have a great day, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.